I want to get this video out today as a continuation of the video I did a couple days ago. I think it's titled Buy These for $100,000 US and Get the Property Owner's Visa. Some other information has come to light in the last 48 hours, and I'd like to expand on that. My name is William Hutchison. I'm the owner of the two real estate companies that you see in the thumbnail, along with my wife. I've lived in Colombia for 13 years and in Armenia 12 in a couple of months. Some information has come to light, and I just want to give you a little bit of history and explain where it is now for the property owner's visa. When Petro came into power, he changed a lot of the visa rules and regulations. And in particular, it affected a couple of visas more than others. And the one that it did affect is the property owner's visa. The old rules were you had to pay 650 times the minimum monthly wage, and it got you a visa for 5 years. At the time, that came in around $150,000 or $160,000 US. But it would give you a 5-year visa, and at 5 years you could apply for residency. Petro changed that. In one way, he changed it in a positive light because it's now only 350 times the minimum monthly wage, which increases every year, by the way. And but he changed the time for the visa to 3 years. So now people apply. They get a visa for 3 years. It can be renewed for another 2 as long as you still own the property. And then at 5 years, you still get the residency visa, assuming that you qualify. It came to light yesterday that a couple here has applied to renew the visa. And they were told that because they bought under today's threshold, which is just over 4,000 million, they paid 375 million, that they no longer qualified for the property owner's visa because it didn't meet today's threshold. So what the government is effectively doing is using today's threshold with a purchase that was made years before. That's like comparing apples and oranges, especially now when the property is valued close to 600 million. All I can tell you about that is it's going to get sorted out somehow. I don't know how. I know Langon Group in Medellin is supposed to have filed a class action suit against the government because they're doing this. The Langon Group is heavily into real estate transactions and visas, and of course they have a vested interest. So how all this is going to come out, I don't know. Today's video is property purchases of up to, I think it's 145,000 US, all in good areas, all condominiums. I'm not going to go into any comparisons, any descriptions, my opinion. I'm going to attach the links and you can have a look at them. There's a lot of them on Finca Raise. You decide what is attractive to you and what isn't. The 3 that are there are in good barrios. The one thing you have to know about Armenia is the barrios. Something maybe at 145,000 looks expensive compared to one at 125, but the 125 is in the wrong barrio and perhaps on the 4th or 5th floor in a building that has no elevator. So there's a lot of things that come into the comparisons, and a little bit of local knowledge goes a long way. One thing, getting back to the visa, the minimum monthly wage here increases every year January 1st. Last year it was just over 10%. So these properties in this video give you some room for 3 years. What the minimum monthly wage is going to go up, no one has any idea, probably until December, when the government gives an indication as to what it's going to go up. But inflation here this year is probably going to finish around 13%. And with Petro getting a lot of his support from the poorer people in the country. I think it's probably going to be increased that much or close to it, maybe even more than it was last year. So you have to be careful until this question of the property value that they use for the property owner's visa is settled. It might settle quickly. It may be as little as the minister stepping in and saying, you know, you can't grandfather the price and use today's minimum monthly wage. If the visa was granted under the rules and regulations in effect at the time, then there's no reason to refuse the applicants on today's minimum monthly wage as opposed to what they paid for the property. I can't tell you any more than that, but I wanted to clarify what was in the visa or in the video that I did to buy for $100,000. There's a short explanation there, and you can review that at your convenience. William Hutchison, Armenia Columbia Realty for Expats, and Salento Columbia Realty. I live in paradise, and you can too.